Okay. अपार सच्चित् सुखवारिराशेर् यस्योर्मिमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि। ओम नमो भगवते श्री रमणाय। जय अरुणाचल। In this session of the webinar, we are going to take a look at the famous Eka Shloki of Bhagavan Shri Ramana Maharshi. Perhaps all of you can see the screen and read the shloka too, or in the invitation you had received the shloka. I'm going to recite it first to make a beginning with this session. हृदय कुहर मध्ये केवलं ब्रह्ममात्रं यहमहमिति साक्षात् आत्मरूपेण भाति हृदि विषमनसा स्वं चिन्वता मज्जता वा पवनचलनरोधात् आत्मनिष्ठो भवत्वम्. Let me read the English translation quickly. Pure Brahman shines in the cave of everyone's heart, as it is evident as I, that is directly evident as the self. Enter your within, into the heart, with all your mind. Search for your true nature. Dive into the depth of your being. Use breath regulation in the process as a stepping stone. Stay firmly as the self. Let's begin with the fourth line of the Eka Shloki. Atmanishto bhava tvam. Tvam bhava. This shloka advises every one of us, the seekers, to be or to remain established in Atma, the pure self. Atmanishta is Atmani Nishta. Atmanishta. In ignorance, we become Dehanishta. We are stationed in the body. We are identified with the body. Even a man of wisdom is stationed in the body, as another shloka found in Saddarshanam says, the unwise and the wise both have a body. The unwise imagines he is just the body and body only. The wise one knows that his existence is way beyond the body. That is the difference. Dehanishta, therefore, would mean identified with the body, thinking, I am this body and I don't know about anything else. This body is most important. Therefore, this Eka Shloki, if not anything else, gives us this primary sadhana, stay as the self. Atmanishto bhavatvam. Rest of it provides certain details. For example, right in the first part of the shloka, it tells us where is the highest truth, where are we to look for the highest truth. Hridaya kuhara madhye. Kuhara means a cave or a cavern or a subtle space, hard to see ordinarily, and this subtle little space referred to here is no other than our own heart. Hridaya Kuhara Madhye, in the middle, in the center of the heart cave, there shines Brahman, Kevalam Brahma Matram. Kevalam itself means in the purest form. Don't imagine this Brahma must be a reflection of some Brahma up there in the sky. No, Kevalam Brahma, this itself is the purest Brahma, the supreme truth. And to make it even more certain, the word is added, Matram, Brahma Matram. Pure Brahma and nothing else. Brahma and Brahma itself, or Brahman itself, is in the heart of every one of us. In what way do we perceive it? Aham, aham iti. Even when you and I have various movements of the ego, we feel good, we feel bad, we feel tired, we feel lazy, or we feel inspired. Then we have a sense of, I'm feeling so good now. Or another time, I'm so tired, I'm feeling so low. In all these ideas of how I am, what I am, how I am feeling, there is the sense of I. The pure basic I is Brahma only. Aham, aham iti sakshad atma rupena bhati. Connected to the fourth line, atmanishto bhava. One has to stay as the pure self, Atma, and the supreme reality of this entire creation, Brahma, is in our heart as the Atma. Therefore, obviously, Atmanishta and Brahmanishta is one and the same. This mantra, this Eka Shloki, appears independently and appears as a part of Ramana Geetā. Both ways. In Ramana Geetā, it is the main shloka in chapter 2. In chapter 2 of Ramana Geetā, there is a mention of when this was composed. Vasishta Ganapati Muni, who composed Ramana Geetā, says in the very first shloka of chapter 2, in a code language, he says this was composed in the Christian era of 1915. But he doesn't say 1915 in Sanskrit numerals. He uses a code language. Let me read for you that shloka. He says, right in the very first shloka, Isha putra shake bana bhumi nanda dharamite chaturmasye jagau saram sangrihya bhagavan rishi. Isha putra shake, that refers to the Christian era, what we call AD now. So 1915 is indicated by a code language, Bana Bhumi Nanda Dharamite. Mite means measured or specified or identified as. Bana Bhumi Nanda Dhara. These are the 4 code words. Now go backwards. Dhara means Prithvi, earth. There is only one earth, so write 1. Then Nanda. There are 9 Nandas in our Puranas, in our mythology, epics. Therefore, Dhara is 1, Nanda is 9, then Bhumi, again 1, Bhumi and Dhara are synonyms, 1, 9, 1, and the first word is Bana. There are Pancha Banas. This is a code language employed in Sanskrit, in the literature, for all the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. There are some code words. Therefore, Bana Bhumi Nanda Dhara means 5191. Now read it reverse order. 1915. Ishaputra shake bana bhumi nanda dharamite chaturmasye jagau saram sangrahya bhagavan rishihi. In the 4 months which elsewhere are observed as Chaturmasya, July to October, somewhere during that time, Shri Ramana, who is referred to in this shloka, Bhagavan Rishihi, instead of saying Maharshihi, Bhagavan Rishihi is said, referring to the same great luminous being. He composed this shloka in Sanskrit. The shloka proper, Eka Shloki, Hridaya Kuhara Madhye, is composed by Maharshi. That is inserted into chapter 2 of Ramana Geetā. A few shlokas before and after are also provided by Vasishtha Ganapati Muni. The Eka Shloki itself is by Shri Ramana Maharshi. Alright, if you take the main message as Atmanishto Bhava, that is the central teaching of this Eka Shloki. Eka Shloki is where in a single shloka the whole lot is said, or the most important message of a visionary, of a rishi, of a sage is given out in just one shloka. You may give up everything else, stay in contemplation on this verse, your job will be done. It is a genre. Eka Shlokis are a genre, and you have Eka Shlokis by many other masters. You have Adi Shankara's Eka Shloki, Kim Jyotir Bhanuma Nahanime, in that fashion. We may take it up in another webinar. This is now Eka Shloki of Ramana Maharshi. Hridaya Kuhara Madhye Kevalam Brahma Matram. Jnana Marga and Bhakti Marga go hand in hand. This is a shloka with a strong flavor of Jnana Marga, Atma Vichara Marga, Huama inquiry path. In contrast, you have in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna's using the sweet language of devotion, Sarvasya Chaham Hradi Sannivishtaha. I am in the heart of everyone. Another place, Hradi Sarvasya Vishtitam. And a third place, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. In 3 places in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, don't look for God anywhere else. He is in your own heart. Kevalam Brahma Matram. The second half of the shloka here gives to us, in one way of saying, 3 paths. If you closely observe the words, first of all, like saying Atmanishto Bhava, stay firm as the pure self, it is said Hridi Visha. This is also an imperative statement. Enter the heart. Normally, we get identified not only with our body, with objects around. This is my car. This is my house. This is the book I have written. These are my possessions. These are my people. These are my voters. These are my students. In whatever way. My clients, my customers, and so on. All that is entering. We enter into a name and form and put a label. This is mine. This is me. Here it is said, Hridi Visha. Enter for a change into your own heart. How are we to do it? It is said, with your mind, let the mind which is going outward turn inward. Okay, well said. But how? How am I to turn my mind inwards? Maharshi says, Chinvata. Let me tell you the 3 words which give to us 3 avenues. One is Chinvata, second is Majjata, third is Rodhat. Rodhat means Pavana Chalana Rodhat. Chinvata, Majjata, Rodhat. What is Chinvata? Manasa Chinvata. Chinvata is an adjective to Manasa. With your mind searching. Chi dhatu in Sanskrit leads to the well-known words like chaya, sanchaya, upachaya, etc. Chayana, collection, selection. Sometimes chayana is used even for election. In English you have these words, collection, selection, election. Same way we have sanchaya, upachaya, sujaschaya. Suppose you go to a garden with a little basket in hand early morning, and for your puja you want to pick up some chosen flowers. You want specific flowers, not any flower. You are looking for some specific flowers which could be very dear to your Ishta Devata. So you look for that particular flower. Ah, there is one plant over there. So you go pick up. Alas, there are only 2 or 3 flowers in that plant. You take them again, look for another plant having the same flower. And then you find. Finally you collect 7 or 8, 10 or 12 flowers of your choice. That is called chaya. So you search, you look for. In that manner, Radivisha Manasa Chinvata. Search for, who am I? Numerous other ideas come. I am his son. I am her brother. I am the CEO of that company. I am the candidate contesting an election. And so on. All these ideas are to be rejected. Look for the true I. So Chinvata means searching. As we search, we find that countless other ideas of I drop away, and as Maharshi himself says in another part of Ramana Geetā, another I arises. In Saddarshanam we have this word, Tatahamanyat spurati prakrishtam nahankritistat parameva purnam. Anyat aham spurati. When you inquire and look for your true I, without yielding to false notions of I, anyat spurati, another I rises. Naham kritihi, that is not ahankriti, that is not another ahankara. One is not to argue, who knows, I rejected 100 ahankara forms of ego, finally landed at another 101st form of ego. Maharshi declares, na ahankriti. Rather it is paramam, purnam. It is complete, because all other forms of ideas of I have limitations. This is unlimited. All right, what is the second approach? Second sadhana that he is advising us, majjata. If you are not equipped by nature or by training, you don't know how to search, no problem. Just turn the outward mind inward, go inside, go inside. That is diving, majjata. Like you have magna, somebody who is immersed in water or in some deep thought, we call magna. Or in Hindi, they say magan. Magan or magna. Magna means deeply immersed. The present participle of that is majjata. It is also adjective to manas. Manasa majjata. The first one was manasa chinvata. So go inwards. Go deep inwards. In a way, there is a scent of bhakti yoga here. Just as a bhakta immerses himself in loving thought of God, here one immerses one's mind deep inside in an attempt to appreciate, to see who oneself is at the depth of one's being. Because all other forms of ego are an outward movement. Forms of ego are an outward movement. I don't have to use the word other. All forms of ego are an outward movement. The inward movement takes us to the pure self. The third is not an adjective to manasa, but pavana chalana rodhat. From third vibhakti, this goes to panchami vibhakti now. Pavana chalana rodhat. By restraint of the movement of breath. In Ramana Geetā itself, at other places, he has explained, if we practice pranayama and regulated breathing, then at a certain point we succeed in having the kumbhaka. Kumbhaka means where we have breathed in and are holding the breath there, and that kumbhaka gets longer and longer. In that kind of restrained breath, one gets an insight into, I am not this personality. Umpteen problems apply to the person, but I am not this person. In this way, an insight takes place. Therefore, searching or seeking is the first approach. Immersing or diving is the second approach, and the third one is management or control of the movement of breath. In another way, control of breath can be regarded as a stepping stone, and that facilitates either searching or diving. These are the methods given by Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. He is himself enlightened. He has gone through this process. He has walked the path. He has traversed the journey, and he shares with us. This is how we may become Atmanishta. Anatma Nirakarana. One has to dismiss countless anatmas. Anatma means what I am not. Somehow, thought process, the movement of the mind, remains with some idea of our own identity. I would personally say that certain Vedantic study, certain scriptural study gives to us a very good idea of what is anatma, what is atma, and so on. And then with that kind of, what we may say, being well informed, being well exposed, being clear about the terminology, or more than language or words, Sanskrit or Hindi, English or Kannada, more than any language, having a certain clarity about what it is that we are seeking, what it is that is binding us. So language goes to the back seat. If we keep the language in the front seat for too long, language is a great help in scriptural study. But if we forever keep it in the front seat, we are in soup. Then we may become only good speakers or writers. In order that we may get really free, we may get enlightened, what we need to do is put the language in the back seat and stay non-verbally with where we are stuck. Remain with an idea, with the idea, I should say. You are afraid. Stay with that sense of I am afraid and search. Don't ask, in what language shall I search, English or Telugu? In what language shall I conduct the search, Punjabi or Bengali? Well, these languages can be stepping stones, but at a certain point, say goodbye to any language. Directly face it. A Punjabi, a Bengali, a Frenchman, and an American lady, all of them get anger. They don't say, he has an American anger and this lady has a Bengali anger. this is a French anger and another is a Tamil anger. It's not like that. There is anger by itself. Without even putting a word of the language, one can notice anger. In a lecture, in a writing, in a class, in a communication, it is necessary to use a language. But at the right time, at the right stage, let go of language and inquire. Chinvata majjata pavanachala narodhat atmanishto bhavatvam. It is in this context only that, to quote once more Saddarshanam, another wonderful classic of Shri Ramana Maharshi, Maharshi assures us, if we search intensely, if we search for who we are very, very seriously, then Gaveshanat prapya hradantaram tat patedahanta paribhugna shirsha. There is this expression, ahamta. Ahanta is same as ahankara, ahankriti. The ego, patet, just falls, collapses. And to make it more dramatic, the word used is paribhugna shirsha, with its head broken. With its head perhaps broken into 1,000 pieces. Like in the story of Vikramaditya and the Vetala, the ghost. The ghost threatens Vikramaditya. If you know the answer and yet you will not tell me, your head will be broken into 1,000 pieces. These are times when someone would regret having knowledge. Every time the Vetala tells a story and asks Vikramaditya a question, alas, Vikramaditya wished he did not know, but he knew. He knew the answer. And because he knew the answer, and having known the answer, if he would not say the answer, his head would be broken. Paribhugna shirsha. So he tells. And I believe at the end there is some very, very puzzling story. And there Vikramaditya doesn't know the answer. That is where the story comes to a happy end, whatever way it is. So, paribhugna shirsha, dramatic expression. Our ego gets crestfallen, as they translate sometimes. The eye drops out, crestfallen. The head is broken or bent down. When does it happen? Gaveshanat. Gaveshana is one more Sanskrit word for anveshana, for margana, or for search. Gaveshanat prapya hradantaram tat hradantaram. Reach your own hearts within. Then you see what happens to your ego. Normally you and I are concerned with problems, financial problems. Some people have enough money, but they have relationship problems. Some people have problem of managing time, managing their property, managing even their money. Some people don't get sleep. All right, who has all this problem? I. And what is this I? The fundamental issue is we remain so convinced of who we are, we don't question that at all, that foundation. Then whoever I am, according to my thinking, happens to have a problem, and I'm concerned how to solve that problem. But who am I in the first place? That is what Ramana Maharshi is asking us. Thus, this Eka Shloki is pretty simple. However, it is very deep. Kapali Shastri, disciple of Vasishta Ganapati Muni, wrote a bhashya on this Ramana Geetā. Maharshi Ramana taught his students at various times. Like this Eka Shloki was in 1915. Many other shlokas or some answers given in Tamil rendered into Sanskrit by Vasishta Ganapati Muni, etc. were at other times. So you have Maharshi Ramana giving the teachings, Ganapati Muni, putting them all in the form of 300 shlokas, becoming Ramana Geetā. And on that Ramana Geetā, Kapali Shastri wrote a Sanskrit commentary. And Kapali Shastri, while introducing this Eka Shloki, says something which is in fact very inspiring. Let me read that shloka let me read that comment by Kapali Shastri in English translation. He says, taking the place of the large leading jewel in this chain of 300 verses of Ramana Geetā, shines resplendent one verse, like Gayatri among the riks of the 10 mandalas of Rigveda. Like Gayatri mantra shines like a leading jewel among the riks, the mantras of the 10 mandalas of Rigveda, here Eka Shloki shines in this entire Ramana Geetā of 300 verses. One whose word and import have to be imbibed by all those desirous of knowledge. And some details are given that this shloka is composed in the meter Malini, Hridaya Kuhara Madhye Kevalam Brahma Matram Yahamahamiti Sakshad Atma Rupena Bhati Hradi Vishamanasa Swam Chinvata Majjatava Pavana Chalana Rodhat Atmanishto Bhavatvam. This is in the Malini meter of Sanskrit poetry. And to say one last thing about Kapali Shastri's comment, the sense running behind the sound of the words that spread the light of the immortal self. So this is, though short, though crisp, though having just 4 lines, is in fact very valuable source of knowledge and source of guidance in our sadhana. If we at times forget what is the Vedanta we have studied, what is the spirituality we have studied. At this moment, I'm not remembering anything. I've lost touch, I'm lost. If it feels like that, try to just pick up this Eka Shloki. In my heart, there shines the truth which can set me free, which will set me free. I have to turn inward. I have to search for my true nature. I have to dive within. And if my mind is too disturbed, I can employ breath regulation, breath observation to calm my mind first. The mind being made a little calm can then be engaged in self-inquiry. Who am I? Great are the sages, great are the rishis, great are these spiritual luminaries who have given us certain valuable tips. We have been supplied the tools. We just have to use the tools. How blessed we are. In this way, we can bring new courage to ourselves. We can bring new hope to ourselves. And we will see the end of the tunnel. Light at the end of the tunnel will be visible. That is the grace, blessings and power of this Eka Shloki of Shri Ramana Maharshi. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. Let me see, please ask any question if you have. Okay. Looks like there is a hand here. Krish Chilipuri. Let me begin with him. Yes, Krish. How are you?
Very good, Swami. Hari Om, Swamiji.
Hari Om.
The phrase that you taught us, what you taught us in terms of Majjatava today was very hit the mark.
Okay.
So this Majjata, and this is a very I'm trying to formulate the question. The tradition of sitting with the body erect and the head aligned, etc., etc.
Correct.
That it appears to me that Majjata may not require it. Let me talk a little bit more. I can see how Chinvata, Bhavanachalana Rodhat, I can see that tradition in that process. But Majjata is sort of an inward looking. Can be is in many ways, can it be a non-verbal inward looking, which can be achieved in vast wilderness, in nature.
I remember long back you had mentioned the value of being in wilderness, in natural surroundings.
The reason I asked the question is it appears to be a non-verbal teaching that occurs, and perhaps Majjata is linked to that. Is my question.
Yes, definitely. I also touched upon it in a sense in my talk, that language has to be left behind, and Majjata, diving deeper, going inward. Certainly, as we go inwards, we have to let go of this tool of language. I would connect this diving at this point with what I have gathered from J. Krishnamurti's teachings, that flame of attention. So, in the exercise of the flame of attention, Krishnamurti made it very clear. One has to let go of the word. The word has no place. In fact, word itself is the bondage. So, for example, you also have studied a little of Krishnamurti. He was known for asking the question, can you look at a flower without naming it? So, whether it is a flower outside on a plant or lust or anger inside us, so can we look at it without naming, without judging, without the vocabulary coming in? And obviously, this requires diving deeper and deeper, because verbalization is on a little superficial level. Just as, I wear a three-piece suit, so my dress, my attire, however wonderful it may be, it's a bit outer. So when a doctor has to examine me, he asks me to take out all that, puts his stethoscope or whatever, he has to examine me deeper. So here also, the language we have learned, the articulations. Some of us have gone far and have become quite adept in expressing one thing in 10 ways. And the irony of it is, after expressing it even in 10 ways, we really don't know what we are talking. That is the sad part of verbalization. Sometimes those who describe something in great detail don't really have a hang of what they are talking about. Someone else, the example of sugar is given, right? Someone who has sugar in his mouth, he knows the taste of sugar, not somebody who may know a poem about sugar. So diving, without making it long, diving is having a quality of attention, quality of tremendous attention. And to do justice to the science, I would personally say, to do justice to the science, whether you are sitting or standing, walking or in amidst natural surroundings, it doesn't much matter. But practically, in 9 out of 10 cases, it could be in congenial atmosphere. It's like Eureka happened to Archimedes, right, in the bathtub. So, technically speaking, these insights, this quality of attention, this diving may take place anywhere. But that doesn't mean that we must invite trouble by being in distracting scenarios. Yeah. So I would connect diving with quality of attention. Higher the quality, deeper you have dived. May I go to another questioner?
Swapna, Ashok has asked question in question box.
Okay, I'll go there. I'll just, meanwhile, I clicked already Dinesh Burman.
Swamiji,
Yes.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Dinesh ji.
So, in the previous, in answer to the previous question, are you saying that that I'm not sure that in the last part I lost you. You are saying this technique or whatever it is, it requires certain enhancement feature like going to wilderness, or it does not? Because that is where I think a lot of this, even when you look at yoga classes here, they try to enhance it, but I think if you have to do yoga, you have to do yoga. You don't need enhancements.
So, right. So what I said was, I used the word to do justice to the science. Such surroundings are not a must, are not so important. But then I said practically they may help a little bit. This is explained in a shloka in Viveka Chudamani. You know, there is an expression in Viveka Chudamani, Upayaha Desha Kaladhyaha Santi Asmin Sahakarinaha. That is the line. Upaya means helpful supports. Desha Kaladhyaha. Desha means where you are sitting, like natural surroundings or a busy marketplace, at your own home, in a small apartment, or in a whatever, Desha. Kala is it early morning, middle of the day, late evening, or times of financial crisis in the country? That's such thing. Kala. Kala means time. So Viveka Chudamani spells it out. These upayas, sahakarinaha, they can be helpful. But in the same shloka it is said, what is the crux of the matter? Most important is the inner readiness, inner preparedness. So if one has viveka, vairagya and a hunger for truth, that's where I took the Archimedes example, right? Was it Archimedes who said Eureka and ran? Yeah. So if one is seized with the question, if one is really unable to think of anything else, the question has caught him, hijacked him, then all these things go to the background. Therefore, like we say in mathematics or science at times, other factors remaining equal, a calm place, a natural surrounding, etc., helps a lot. But primary is some kind of inner preparation. All these work hand in hand, I guess. We can only distinguish between primary and secondary. The place and time cannot be primary. They are secondary, they do help. Whereas Viveka and Vairagya are primary. Love of God is primary. Someone like Hanakadasa, wherever he went, he felt there was God watching him. Because there was such love of God, such sense of presence of God in him. His classmates who were more scholarly, who knew perhaps more Sanskrit or Nyaya or Vyakarana, whatever, they didn't have that sense of presence of God everywhere. So in Jnana Marga also, if some of us are sort of caught by, hijacked by that question, as I said, that would be primary. Did we touch your question, Dinesh?
Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome. So I'll go to some written questions. Okay. Yeah. Somehow, okay. Is Pavana Chalana Rodhat not a caged bird, but how to transcend and establish in Atmanishta? Yeah, that is a question by some. Yeah, right. That's good. Yeah, it is a caged bird. Therefore, I myself conceded that breath control can be looked at as a stepping stone. First, catch the bird, and sorry for the violent side of that illustration. It's only an illustration. You got to catch the bird, and then probably you can kill the bird. This is a limitation of the illustration. The ego has to be first held under check. Rather than allowing it to go anywhere, you kind of held it in control, hold it in control, then you can finish it off. The ego has to go. So it is a caged bird, but then it leads eventually. A stepping stone has its own value. Therefore, Maharshi Ramana doesn't mean by Pavana Chalana Rodha itself you become Atmanishta. He doesn't mean. Take Pavana Chalana Rodha, get going further. At some point you will know. You will know when to let go of the control and come to the field of attention. In a interesting parallel, J. Krishnamurti in his teachings was very strong against any control. In fact, he became unpopular for that reason in orthodox circles. He criticized all religions for talking about control. What is this, he said. And he said that the overemphasis by religions over control has led to suppression and all kinds of undesirable outcomes. There is some truth in what he is saying, but in a larger canvas, control is the stepping stone. Initially, we don't know anything better. We try to control. Then we ourselves see that this caging the bird is not going to take us far. Then we say, hold on, I'm not going to control my mind so much. Let me give myself space. Let me see what it is to get angry. Let me see what it is to get lusty, what it is to feel jealous. So there you are giving space. So to sum up my answer, Pavana Chalana Rodha, breath control, by itself controls the mind, but at a right point, with certain maturity, one lets go of the control side and gets into observation, gets into watching. There seems to be another question here.
No questions on this.
Right. So I come back to check whether any hand is raised. Probably not. Fine. Anyhow, we will take up more of these dimensions in another webinar. Thank you all. Om Namah Shivaya. Huh?
There's one question by Gargi Dixit.
Written question.
Written question.
What is heart? Yeah. Maharshi Ramana has made it clear that he is not referring to the blood pumping organ called heart. In his literature, the word heart stands for the pure self, our own true nature. However, in addition to representing our true nature, the word heart in Ramana Maharshi's ministry represents a certain point to the right of our chest, while the blood pumping organ heart is to the left of our chest slightly. This is a point a little to the right of the chest where one primarily experiences the pranic energy merging and emerging. This is what he has said. Therefore, my answer is summed up in this way. On one level, it is the Atma which has no location, no boundary, it is all pervasive. On another level, the word heart represents a certain point in our physical body where on the level of Upasana, not in the ultimate Jnana, on the level of Upasana, one then discovers there is something special about that point. It is from there that the pranic energy, mind energy emerge. The mind energy, Maharshi says in his literature, rises from the heart, goes to the head, and then operates from the brain. When we wake up in the morning, within a few seconds, the mind has risen from the heart, gone to the brain, and is operating from the brain. So we hardly notice the time when it was in the heart. For us, thinking is taking place in the head only. But Maharshi is emphatic that before thinking began in the head, that whole energy was staying in the heart. When we go into deep sleep, everything gets packed and goes into the heart. So it's like an officer who has a house, and by the time you meet him, he is sitting in the office. Actually, he comes from home, sits in the office. In late evening, he goes back to his home, but you meet him only in the office. So we we perceive thoughts only in the head. Actually, the material called the mind, not the physical brain, but the material or the stuff called the mind, emerges in the heart and emerges from the heart. Therefore, there is a physical point also, but in some places in his literature, the heart stands for the limitless reality, which is not located anywhere. So these are two levels. Like we say, the value of pi could be, in simple terms, 22/7, but otherwise it is 3.141.
Hari Om everyone. I think the connectivity from that side is very weak. So we'll conclude this. Hari Om.